Hey everyone, welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network. Today, episode 177, second episode of our return to live video. And we found some bum wandering around the backwoods of North Carolina that we dragged with us today. Jim, how you been?
Like I said an hour ago, I was hanging curtains. I'm doing fine. It's amazing the difference in the weather. Up in Port Allegheny, they have had frost 2 weeks ago. Down here, it just barely got cool today. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
So,
My wife
other
was.
than moving,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, other than moving into your new house, what you been up to?
Not a heck of a lot other than moving my reloading supplies, my reloading equipment and stuff, getting it out of storage. And that's where my guns were. They were in storage. They're with me now, and they're safely secured. But that's basically all I've been able to do. You know, I'm going to have to learn to make do with a lot less. Downsize quite a bit. Of course, too, I had quite a bit of room. You know, when I was up in the barn, stuff like that. You know, I had half the barn available to my reloading room. The other half was for storage for the lawnmower, stuff like that. But that's what I'm doing, just trying to figure out how to reorganize myself.
Yeah. I suppose that'd be a big challenge. So
It is. It is.
Jason, how about you? What you been up to?
Terry Dillashaw was up in Nevada recently, and he was working at the Extreme Bullet facility. So he called me and asked me if I wanted anything. So I had him pick me up some plated 44 mag bullets. He got a little bit of a discount on them. I can't remember what he told me, 15% or something, whatever it was.
Nice.
So that was nice. So he brought those back to me. And I went shooting this morning, and it's extremely windy out there, north wind, lots of pollen. I was kind of having some sinus issues out there, but place was packed. There was 3 benches open when I got there. And while I'm setting my stuff down and I turn around, there's 1 bench left to shoot at. So I grabbed it real quick.
Yep.
It was elbow to elbow, and lots of people don't know how to keep their target stands from blowing over the wind in the wind. So we had like extra long ceasefire periods.
Oh, geez.
But I got a little bit of shooting done, not a whole lot. And one of the things that I did specifically go there for is to test some rounds in my AR-10. And I didn't take a magazine with me. So I was trying to load them in there. My fingers don't exactly fit in the magwell very well. So I tried my best. I got a couple shots off, and then I figured, the heck with this. This isn't fun anymore. So I packed up and left.
Sorry, Jason. you tend to make those kind of terrible mistakes.
You know, and this morning I was thinking I should check my box to make sure I got some magazines. And I thought, nah, I know I got some in there. So I already knew to look, but I just too lazy to walk out to the truck and look.
Slacker.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, you know what I forgot to do? Looking at my video feed reminded me. I forgot to talk about the wonderful work that Jake and Ryan and everybody do over at Patriot Patch Company, and the fact that they're the sponsors of the bandwidth for this program. See, Jim, I left the fine out this time.
I don't get it.
Remember, I said fine program a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. Well, ever since we're going back, we've got a lot of readjustment. Going back to video, we're going to have to do a lot of fine tuning.
Uh-huh.
We got to find a way to hang a bag over that guy's face. Yeah, that's you, Jason. No, Jason and I have been friends for a long time. We beat each other up all the time. But anyway, continue, Mike, with your patch. That's a nice looking patch you got on there. An M80.
This was July's patch of the month. Or no, sorry, June's patch of the month. The 6 Semper Tyrannis was July's. So every month there's a different patch. You can either go to patriotpatch.co and sign up to be a member of the Patch of the Month Club there. Or if you'd like to be a member of the Patch of the Month Club and help out the Firearms Radio Network at the same time, you can go to firearmsradio.tv/pledge and either just straight join the Patch of the Month Club level, or you can pick any one of the shows, preferably the Reloading podcast, which would be firearmsradio.tv/pledge-reloading-podcast, and select the $20 level, which is the Patriot Patch Club Patch of the Month level. So not only are you helping the Firearms Radio Network, but you're getting your awesome Patch of the Month. So September's was great. It's Lady Liberty with some night viz goggles and some other stuff. Unfortunately, the U.S. Postal Service decided they wanted mine more than I did, so I got a hold of Jake, and Jake's gonna rectify that problem. So, but he's very good about that. So excellent customer service, excellent products. The hat I'm actually wearing is one of the hats that they sell, so you can put patches on it. Basically, what it is just, haha, that sounded good, I bet. So Velcro patch on the front. You can just throw your patch up. And if you want, you can line it up, or you can off-center it. So all sorts of fun stuff. So now, see, I'm going to leave that there because I know there's some OCD people that will watch this video. 5 minutes, fix your patch. So just because it's fun.
No, leave it like it is, Mikey. I like it better. Only thing is, you got it right side up. You should put it upside down.
Nah, I don't want to totally flip it. Oh yeah, Russ in the video chat reminded me, lest we forget, about their fantastic T-shirts. My favorite is the "I Roll My Own." It's a picture of a reloading press, and it's got then the words "I Roll My Own." They have a patch like that also. They've got all sorts of other great T-shirts and hats and patches. All sorts of different patches. They've got an entire series of, if you're going to go alone, take this. You really got to check those out. That's it, Tony. We're finding you for that. We're glad that people can join us on live. So, and this is going to become a regular thing again. So, we're just going to try and get the time nailed down, and then we'll put out notice earlier rather than later. But this is going to go back to a regular thing. Next 2 weeks, we should have guests, so that'll be even more fun.
Sounds good. So, who are they? Can you say on the air yet?
No, I don't want to announce in advance. That's an old radio thing. Don't announce in advance because you'll get jinxed that way. So, but yeah, we'll have good guests next couple of weeks.
Sounds good.
So, topics for today. So first up is from the Reloading Podcast Facebook group on Facebook. And Jason talked a little bit about last week about his RCBS Casemaster and about how he was doing a modification to it that somebody else had done, and I'll let Jason tell in detail. But he got that done, and now he's going to kind of tell us all about it.
All righty. So this is my RCBS Casemaster. I bought a extra dial off of Amazon. I think this one was 12, 14 bucks, not much. I called RCBS and got the arm that connects it. They didn't send screws with the arm, so I just pulled some stuff out of my toolbox to connect it. But if you want the screws, you better tell them you want the screws. But anyway, so I don't have to move my dial indicator around to measure different items. So on this side, where I can measure my neck thickness right here. And Trevor, if you listen, when you're doing this and you put your case on there, put a little finger pressure on top of the sleeve. It'll level that case out and it'll give you a more accurate measurement. That was a problem I believe he and I were having originally with these. And then to measure concentricity is on this side for this gauge is set up. And I can tell if I've got a problem with a die or if something's dirty and not exactly lined up. I can tell before I ever load a bullet in it that I've got an issue. And that's about all I can think of to say about it.
Jason, you mind if I ask you a couple questions for my friend?
Yeah, I mind. Be quiet, Jim.
No. Show me how you measure the cases, the case neck thickness, if you would, please.
Yes, sir. So, I don't know if you can see this. There's a little post right here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So your case goes on that. You slide the sleeve up. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time doing that one-handed. Think I got it?
I got it. I get the point. I get the
Okay.
point. So yes, that thing you've got your thumb on, that must be a known dimension. Even if it isn't known, doesn't matter because I could see now where you measured the thickness just by rotating the case. I can't read the dial indicator you're using, but it looks like it's about 10 to 12 thousandths. Is that about right?
Should be
15.
15.
Yes, sir. That's what I see, 15.
Yep.
If you've got it all zeroed out.
Yep. And
okay. Very interesting.
Zero it out
Yep.
before.
Yep. It was zeroed out. Okay, show me how you measure concentricity, Jason, if you don't mind, please.
Okay.
You knew I was going to ask these questions.
Yeah, that's a little bit harder one-handed, but I'll try here.
Of course. I get the idea right there. That's perfect. Then you just rotate it.
You rotate it. Yeah, you keep in pressure. Every once in a while, you'll get a jump because you moved your finger off the case and the pressure of the dial indicator pushes it down. Just make sure you understand what you're doing and what you're reading.
So you're just holding it down and rotating it.
Correct.
In that V, brass sits in. Is there any sort of friction reducer, or is that just brass on metal contact?
Brass on metal.
Okay.
Is there a way to stop the case from going too far towards the shoulder, towards the indicator plunger?
Yes. The V blocks down here.
Yes, sir.
These are totally adjustable. Okay. You can slide them in any way you want. This has a stop on the back of it, so you just slide your case right up to that.
Hold the case head against a vertical pin.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice, Jason.
Yeah, I kind of like this setup.
That is nice.
You can also use that, of course, for measuring loaded ammo.
Yep, it sure could.
Very nice.
What else I want to buy?
Thank you.
Jason, one more question, if you don't mind, sir. What is that long arm extending from the first post across to the second? It looks like it's bent. Yeah, it looks like it's been hooked.
So
okay, what is that for?
It's got a hook on the end of it.
I know exactly what that's for.
Now you know where I'm going with this?
Yes, sir.
That separation.
You betcha.
And if you want to, you can also measure the thickness of your case by setting your dial indicator on top of that hook.
Yeah,
and then you can measure it and see.
Nice.
Oh, that's not as bad as I thought it would be.
What's up?
only 109.
No.
The Casemaster.
Yeah, they're not terrible.
And then how much was the extra arm?
They sent it for free.
Oh, nice.
They can't sell through the phone system, whatever you call that when you call them.
Right.
He said they can't. So he says, I'll just say yours is broken. So
Nice.
I don't know if I should say that or not, but that's how he did it.
Yeah, well, you know.
I searched for that part and I couldn't find it, so I ended up just calling him.
Yeah.
I would think a machinist buddy of yours could probably make one for you pretty quick if you gave him a couple of measurements.
Yeah.
If he weren't retired, he probably could do it a lot sooner.
Slacker. I've got the I've got the Hornady, but I kind of like the fact that you can do. I've got the Hornady concentricity, and I'll grab that so they can kind of get an idea of comparison.
You just made me realize, Jason, I've been able to measure case neck thickness with my Hornady concentricity gauge all along. All I have to do is move the case back far enough to indicate off the bullet, and then move the case forward enough to indicate against the side of the case neck.
Yeah, you sure could, couldn't you?
Yes, sir. You just made me realize that. Duh. No, I like my tubing, Mike. You know, but it was $25.
Right.
How much you got in that total in that device you were showing us on camera?
Probably $120.
Not bad, not bad. A good microphone, good micrometer will cost you that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to mute myself. My wife's cell phone was ringing.
Yeah. So,
that's all we have right now: cell phone and iPad.
I don't know where the rest of it is right now, but because it's packed away somewhere because I haven't used it yet. But here's your basic RCB or your Hornady.
Right.
The dial indicator goes in here.
Right.
And your different adjustment and your tension.
While you were off the air, Mike, I was telling Jason, with that tool you have in your hand, I just realized anyone that really paying attention could actually measure the case wall thickness with that device. Just slide the case towards the primer and indicate against the side of the bullet and zero it out, and then move ahead towards the side towards the bullet and indicate against the side of the case neck, and now presto, you've got case wall thickness.
Yep.
Exactly. Just like so, Jason.
Yeah, there's
Thank
another one. So I got mine used, so I got a little bit cleaned up a little bit, but
show and tell reloading style.
Yep.
Jason, please don't move so close to the camera. It's frightening. Just for that, I'm going to sacrifice bandwidth.
Uh-oh.
Yay, there's me.
Oh, God.
There's Jim.
Now, see,
hey, y'all.
Right now, this is where... Oh, I can't mute his video because he's mobile. Dang it! That sucks.
What did you want to do?
Oh, I can mute people's video too. Because he can't. Rats. Tony, yeah, 109 on Amazon for the RCBS, and I'll look up the Hornady one quick.
It's probably about 110, 115. It was 99 when I bought mine 3 or 4 years ago.
$119.95. So yeah, especially Jim, if you use your method to do that, you can avoid paying the $49.49 for the Hornady neck wall thickness gauge. So
makes sense to me. Dollars and cents,
right?
After all, that's how we all got started, so we could save money.
Now,
Yeah.
I have a problem with that. Okay, everybody says you don't save money, and that's a lie. You do save money because your cost per round goes down. Sometimes, depending on how much you reload, it takes a while to recoup your costs for your equipment. But if you reload long enough, you will recoup those costs, and you will save money, depending on what you're loading. Now, see, for my buddy's 257 Weatherby, we took an $85 a 20 box down to $16 a 20 box. So that's huge savings. Now 9mm, depending on what you're loading, maybe not, because that price has really dropped on that stuff lately. 5.56 probably the same, but you know, even the price of like Winchester White Box 308's gone up now. So you could definitely break even, if not save money, on just loading regular 147 grain target ammo. So that's the thing, is people say you're not going to save money. That's a misnomer, which it's not. It's truth. But you have to realize that, yes, your cost per round is going to go down, but you're probably going to shoot more because you have the ability to make more ammo. Especially those of us on a budget where, you know, it was buying a box of ammo every payday, and then, you know, in about 2.5 hours at the range, you'd go through a month's worth of ammo. But now, because most of my equipment's paid for, I can reload for about half the cost of going and buying it, if not better. And it's usually a more consistent ammo because I'm not buying the cheap target loads that are just slapped together and nobody cares about quality control. And that's the thing most people don't realize. And I've had that conversation about shot shells too. Yeah, you can go buy a box of, you know, you can go buy 250 for $60. So it's $6 a box. When you're loading, depending on how much you pay for lead, $4 to $5.50 a box. But the kicker is, you're not loading that $5.50 to $6 a box shot shell. You're loading the double A's or the STSs that are, you know, $9.50, $10 a box of 25. And that's the thing that people don't realize, is they don't realize that unless you're seriously half-assing it, when you're reloading, you're making better than target ammo without even trying. Because all the equipment's so good, the dies are so good, the bullets that we're buying are good, the powder's consistent. The only real issue is the quality control, and we're controlling that when we're loading. So that's the thing that everybody needs to realize, and I wish that more of us in this hobby would quit talking I understand it's one of the jokes, but at the same time, when we're talking to newbies or people that are getting interested, we need to help them understand that, yes, you actually can save money doing this, and you will save money. So yeah, like Russ says, you can spread that cost out so much. You know, if you buy say you buy a Lee anniversary kit for or no, not a Lee anniversary kit, but a turret kit for $229. That's got everything but your dies and your actual components. If you load 1,000 rounds, yeah, you added 22 cents a round to your cost. But if you're loading rifle rounds, that'll cover it real quick. Pistol rounds probably not as much. You're probably going to have to load, 5,000-10,000 to get your cost back out of it for pistol rounds. But even if you're that serious, it's not hard to go through 500 rounds of pistol ammo in a day. Trust me. Especially when cost is not a factor.
Yep. You get guys like me and Jason. We cast our own, and I've been known to go through 2,000 rounds in a day.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. We always joke about not saving money, but Mike's absolutely right. When you break it down to the cost per round, but the other thing is too, you probably 99% probably will shoot a good bit more.
Oh yeah.
But like Mike said, we're shooting better ammo, and the more we shoot, the better we become. If we're even close to trying to practice. You're shooting good ammo. I've seen a time, I don't usually like to brag like this, but I've seen a time when I was shooting my 357 against some guys with the 30-06 at the 9-inch pie plates, and I get cussed because I could shoot so well. Why? Because I was in the middle of wearing a Ruger Security 6 out with 20,000 rounds through the poor thing. And yeah, I could shoot 5-inch groups at 100 yards. Those guys were having a hard time keeping 5 shots on a pie plate. I could shoot 5-inch groups. That's not a problem.
And that's when I know that you're a bad shooter, because with today's ammunition in a 30-06, there's no reason you shouldn't be sub 2 MOA at 100 yards without trying.
Well, you see, that's the thing. These guys are a bunch of rednecks. They shoot 3 rounds a year,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm not denigrating rednecks per se. They work all summer long, and they take a few days off to go hunting deer, and they just want to make sure the rifle's still zeroed in.
Yeah, minute of deer.
Exactly.
Trevor said a couple times, and I've heard various other things. Okay, so that kind of takes us into our next topic, which is a question that we got sent via email. And this was from Skip. And Skip says, found your podcast 2 weeks ago and have been binge listening. Enjoy it very much. Thank you. So he started reloading 9mm about 6 months ago and 300 blackout very recently. I worked up some subsonic loads, 9 to 9.4 grains of Win 296 and a 200 grain cast. And that should be for blackout, I believe. And then for supersonic, 15 to 16 grains of Win 296 with 150 grain. Yeah, that's a blackout. Ladder loads and the thought of a chronograph entered my mind, but I have not been out to the range in several months due to surgery, but anticipate getting these ladder loads out to the range in the next month. We'll be using my home-built 300 blackout rifle with 16-inch barrel and a 1-8 twist. You may have already covered this subject already, and I haven't listened to it yet. So if so, please let me know the podcast if you can. Well, Skip, we kind of have, but we kind of haven't. So we figured the best thing to do is just talk about it now. So how important is a chronograph in the reloader's arsenal? Where does it fall in line with the other items like a case length, head space gauge, trimmer, primer pocket swager, etc., etc.? To me, it seems like a rather important piece of data to know. We use a scale for powder measure, calipers for OAL, and other measuring devices when loading. So knowing velocities would be right up there, I would imagine. I'm looking at the Magneto Speed Sporter because I shoot at a busy range and setting, adjusting, moving an optical chronograph wouldn't work too well with cold hot cycles. Obviously, the optical is more flexible, rifle, handgun, bow, airsoft, etc., etc. And with some budgeting, I may be able to pick up an optical chronograph in 5 to 6 months if I find that I really need to know pistol velocities and I can't engineer something with the Magneto Speed 3D Sporter. 3D printing, anyone? Thanks for the podcast and your time. Skip. So, chronograph is important, but it's not vital. Case length, headspace gauge, case trimmer, primer pocket swager. If you're not shooting military brass, isn't that big of a deal. But in the pantheon of things, is the chronograph the most important thing in the arsenal? No. If you have the money and you can save the money for it, it's absolutely a key piece of information, but you can make do without it. That's my opinion anyway. What say you, gentlemen?
Jason, he must be addressing you.
I agree. You can get away without it for now. I'll tell you, when you get into rifle and you're looking for that nth degree of accuracy, the chrono tends to help a lot. And if you're going to do that, I think I'd probably go with the magneto as opposed to the optical. I think you get the best bang for your buck there.
I agree with you, Jason. I like the idea of clipping that thing right on the barrel because that gives you true muzzle velocity. Simple as that. The other thing is, too, the chronograph, it's not a critical piece of gear. We all agree there. But it is an extremely useful and very valuable piece of gear. By valuable, I mean it gives you the true data that you can get from whatever it is. And usually it's going to be 100, 200 feet below whatever the book is. That's not the point. The point is it gives you somewhere to start as long as your device is even close to being calibrated. It may not be dead on the money. These lab radars, from what I understand, they're pretty precise. They're pretty accurate and precise, I should say. But, you have to have some place to start. And that's what your chronograph really gives you. When you're really trying to take and squeeze out that extra 2 feet per second or 20 feet per second or whatever feet per second, it helps you tell whether or not you're actually getting to where you want to be. Make sense, Jason?
Yep.
I like the idea of the magneto speed. As you can see over my shoulder, there's a Caldwell chronograph, first gen. It's nice, but optical chronograph is they get fouled out really easily. They have optical windows, and so what's happening? Ooh, oops, phone down. Hang on, I've got a piece that I need to show you. So, what's happening is when you fire, it goes through here. Don't want to hit these. Definitely don't want to hit these. There's two little windows here that shoot up a beam, and they detect for a shadow. Well, what happens is your gunpowder that's unburnt and everything else that's an issue, the dirt and dust and everything else you kicked up at the range, starts to slow down. So usually at a typical, especially like a pistol range, you're probably going to have muzzle no closer than here, so 3 or 4 feet. So what's happening is everything starts cooling as it comes out the muzzle, and it starts slowing down. So you get some deposit here, some deposit here, and you start to get deposits in here, and pretty soon these lenses get all covered up, and you start to get an error code. So that's the drawback to these. Do I want a magneto speed? Absolutely. They are totally worth saving up for. Hearing Jeremy talk about his, and I will actually, Jeremy couldn't join us tonight, but I will actually be recording with him later this week and have him talk about his magneto speed. Jason just got his, so he doesn't have a lot of experience with it, but Jeremy's been using his for a while, and really talk about all the benefits of it, because you're not going to get those fogged up windows. Nice thing about that one, though, like, you can use it on all sorts of other stuff. So it kind of comes in handy there. But there is its drawbacks. So definitely want to take some sort of cleaning solution so you can clean those when you're shooting, especially if you're shooting anything that's dirty. Like in my 40, I use Unique, so it gets fouled up pretty quick.
Mike, there's a couple other things too that I'd like to talk about, the optical chronographs, if you don't mind.
Sure. Go ahead.
Well, thank you. The sky screens. Mike's got a good point. He's got they're actually sky shades. They help diffuse the sunlight and all that sort of thing. One of the things I've done, you're right. Now, what I've done is I take an LED puck light. I can hang it in there on both of them to help shine down. Yes, sir. To help shine down onto the lens that Mike's talking about. There's two of them there, 12 inches apart or thereabouts on his Caldwell. But the thing is, too, you get too much light or you don't get enough light, those things simply can't see the bullet. There it is, right there at the top of Mike's screen. He just covered it up with the sky shade. Yeah, right there. There you go, Mike. Thank you.
Now,
the bullet passes over that, and that's what it does. It measures at the speed of light. It measures the shadow that the bullet casts. Now, my particular Crony F Gamma Master is what it is, not an F1. It's a Gamma Master. I've actually got a large piece of white paper. I wrap around my whole sky shades, if you will, wrap it clear around my whole Crony to create a tunnel. What it is I'm trying to create light at a certain level and a constant level that I'm not getting interference from the clouds or a bird or whatever, or I'm not getting too much light. I'm getting enough light because of my puck lights that I hang on the bottom of the sky shades.
So the advantage of the Caldwell is this is a regular sky shade, just a flat piece of plastic, and it curves when you mount it. These, however, are actually an IR light. So these are actually shooting infrared down to the sensor.
Mm-hmm.
And then the sensor picks up the infrared light just like your puck lights. So that's kind of the nice thing about the Caldwell.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about what Mike's got right there, because he can shoot in the dark, totally dark, and still, as long as he doesn't hit the damn thing like Jason did. anyway, he can shoot in the total darkness. It doesn't matter. Shoot indoor, low light, anything. It doesn't matter. The IR is going to take care of it. IR, that's infrared, folks. And I should talk because I gave my little crony Gamma Master a little kiss with the 357 simply because I was trying so hard to get the bullet down low enough that it would register correctly. Well, didn't realize it was because I had too much light. Still got a little bend in the sheet metal, but I didn't damage it to the point where I couldn't use it.
So one of my favorite features about this is this right here. Smartphone app.
Nice.
I can put strings. Now this is a new phone, so I don't have data strings and stuff on here, but you can save groups. The new gen, which is kind of a goofy looking because instead of the sky shades being over the top, they actually flip the entire chronograph upside down. At some point in time, I'll get one for testing, and we'll see. Yeah, it's not going to connect to the device right now, so fine, whatever. But this one uses a 15-foot cord, but you can keep your different track year groups, and you can put in descriptions and stuff like that. Let's see if that'll focus. Come on. There we go.
There you go. Focus.
You can see different things: temperature, barometric pressure, and then you get your different information that you want. So it's very helpful, very handy from that aspect. But we discussed, it's only helpful and handy if it's actually working. So that's kind of the drawback, is you do have to keep those clean.
Well, you see, that's the other thing, too, about the information that's there in Mike's phone. That information is volatile. What I do when I go to the field or go to the range is I write every shot down on a log. Every shot. Yeah, okay, it's great to have it in the Crony or in the Magneto Speed, and the app can record it all. That's great. Then when you're all done, you ought to make a hard copy. Because if you don't, it's very possible you lose that information. Mike's got a new phone. Where's your old information, Mike, in your old phone? No doubt.
No, actually, it's saved on my hard drive.
Excellent. But, that's the thing. If you don't print it out and you lose that hard drive, well, never mind.
Exactly.
I'm beating on a dead horse.
That's because you're used to using, paper.
Tablets and stone chisels. Stones and, yes.
That's what he means by hard copy.
Right.
Oh, Jason, that was so weak and so lame, you dog, you. It was pretty good, though.
Let's put it this way: when Jim's at the range, it looks like an episode of the Flintstones when dating secretary.
Yeah, you tell that to my iPad.
Oh, now the nice thing about Jim's crony, because obviously this is a problem, people shoot them, actually has a program, as I last knew from 6 months ago. You can actually send them in, and for a cost, they will either refurb or replace the damaged parts. So that's kind of a nice thing about that.
This is the last I heard from Crony. Mike was the last I heard, but this was probably well before your information. If you also, for the additional costs, they'll upgrade you to the next level.
Yeah. So what Russ says he uses his crony for is, first he finds the accuracy load at the distance he'll be shooting at. After that, he checks the speed. Don't focus on hitting a speed. I focus on accuracy, which is true. And that's kind of the general recommendation. Now, the nice thing is, with the chronograph, that's going to kind of help you dial in that little finite. And it'll also tell you how accurate your powder thrower is. So,
yep.
That's kind of the other benefit to chronograph. Speaking of lab radar, I believe the unofficial Minnesotan on the show, Mark Hookham, has one. So we'll actually have to drag him on the show kicking and screaming and have him talk about it. That's right, Hookham. And if I have to come up there, I will.
Well, there's another guy got himself a lab radar. We might be able to drag him up here too, and that's another Minnesotan.
Yeah.
Him and Hookham are personally acquainted.
Aha. Well, maybe we'll have to have two Minnesotans.
Sounds like a winner to me.
That's right. And there are some adapters out there online for the magneto speed to be able to use on pistols with pick rails. So that shouldn't be a hindrance to getting the magneto speed. Where'd that go? All right. Sorry about that. Okay. So, other part of his question is, what should he get before getting a chronograph? Because, he asked about a case length or headspace gauge and a trimmer and a primer pocket switcher. What equipment should he be looking at to get before you get a chronograph? What are some of the really important things? Obviously, press, dies, powder dispenser of some sort, a scale of some sort. Those are going to be the key important ingredients. But after that, what do we really need to get before we get to that chrono stage? So, from my experience, definitely a trimmer and some way to measure case overall length. Those are going to be key important things. Some way to make sure you measure the brass properly, whether you get a caliper to measure the brass and the case overall length. You can kind of do it both ways, but there's more accurate ways to measure COAL than just a standard caliper. So, Jason, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Swager you could probably do without if you pick your brass. Chronograph, yeah, like we said earlier, I'd save that for later. Yeah, just case prep tools. Make sure you get a good scale.
Sorry, Jason, I interrupted you. Forgive me.
No problem.
My suggestion, since Mike and Jason have pretty well covered the equipment that you use at your loading bench, I would suggest that you consider getting some really good shooting bench equipment. You know, sandbags, whatever the case may be. Bipods are okay, but sandbags are actually considered to be better simply because, or rifle rests like a Caldwell lead sled, something on that order, that helps take as much of the human being out of the equation as you can.
Yep, good point.
You know, you have a good shooting bench. If you're standing there trying to use a monopod and you've got the rifle against your shoulder and the rifle on the barrel, the stock of the rifle on the the Y of the monopod, that's not stable at all. Wind starts pushing you around. It's amazing how much variation you'll get. You're trying to sway back and forth, left and right in the wind. You've got to take and have good shooting technique. That's something we've never covered. We focus so much on reloading, we don't really make it a point to talk a whole lot about good shooting practices. I don't think we've ever really had a lot of time talked about shooting practice. Not practice shooting, shooting practices. If you could build your own shooting bench, so much the better. Well, like I have a Caldwell stable table. Tom McClellan taught me how valuable that thing is. It's pretty nice. It's a good portable shooting bench. I can go to any range and set up as long as it's legally allowed on the range. By legally, I mean within the range rules. It's pretty stable and so on and so forth. Good. I use I believe Jeremy said it was called a Caldwell Rangemaster. I think it's a variation of the lead sled, except it's a fire control system. That's what it's called, fire control system. I have a lead sled and a fire control system, and the rear sandbag that Jeremy suggested. Well, unfortunately, all my stuff's still packed, but that's my problem. But anyway, that's just it. Jason, tell me when you go to the range. Tell me how you actually set up to shoot to try to get that 1,000 yards. I know that's like chasing unicorns sometimes, trying to slam that 10-inch steel target at 1,000 yards. But tell me how you do it when you do.
So, bipod, rear bag, try to get comfortable. While I'm looking at my target through the scope, I'm adjusting my body, trying to get lined up and get as comfortable as I can.
Are you shooting off a bench or are you shooting prone?
Long range is prone.
Okay, by long range, you mean anything in excess of 500 yards, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, what kind of a rear bag are you using, Jason? Just a regular cheapy bag, or you got something that has a V in it? Go into detail if you don't mind, my friend.
Okay, so I've got forgot the brand. They're green bags, shooting bags. There's a front and a rear.
Caldwell?
I believe it is Caldwell. I have those, but I don't love them. So I ended up, when I switched to a bipod, I actually just made my own rear sandbag, which works good, but the dust comes through it.
Oh, yeah.
So I ended up I took an old sock and some pinto beans, stuffed it in there and tied it up. And I've been using that lately. And that actually works pretty good. but I feel like the sand is a little more stable than the beans. So I'll probably buy one or make a better one.
Well, consider throwing your sand in a plastic bag before you put it in a sock.
I think I did, if I recall correctly. I'm assuming I've just destroyed that plastic bag inside there over the mini range trips.
No doubt. How about you, Mike? How do you actually do your long range shooting?
Well, I have a lead sled, so for the most part, I use that.
Okay.
I do have an alternate rest that I don't even remember where I got it from. But it's just a basic. It's got the little Y in the back, and then the spot in the front where you can theoretically tighten it down on the front stock, but I don't bother doing that. I just hold it. And then the nice thing with that one is you can actually have the rifle butting on your shoulder. But I use that for fine tuning. But if I'm doing load development, I'm using the lead sled because I don't need to get any worse on my flinch. So I want the lead sled all the beating. But yeah, definitely for I haven't gotten into serious long range. One of our listeners has reached out to me, and he is an RSL at one of the local ranges that has a 600 yard. So I might be getting into long range a little sooner than later. So kind of looking forward to that. That's going to be exciting just to go out and watch, because when I was a member of that range, they actually did not have it open at that point in time because of the fact that the neighbors had done some complaining and they needed to do something to it. But that was many years ago. So, but yeah, Jeff sent me an email, one of our listeners, and he also wants. He's got a question for us, but we need to. That's one we want to have. Kind of Jeremy on, also, because it's about fighting guys versus other stuff. So, but yeah, so it's kind of cool to have another listener right in my neighborhood, and so I'm gonna go out and I don't really have anything to shoot long distance with right now, other than my AR. But I found out once I got that up and running, it needs an adjustable gas block, because right now it's throwing brass out at 2:00. So just a wee bit of a problem. So, but I'm going to order one up from Staley Shooting Supplies next week, and get one coming, and then get that. Like it's supposed to be. The nice thing is I'll also have it that way. So if the Share Act passes, then I'll have the adjustable gas block ready for suppressor.
Yay.
Oh, yeah, by the way, if anybody doesn't know about the Share Act, take a look at it. Call your Congress critters and get them to vote for it. Basically what it is, they took the Hearing Protection Act, basically word for word, and dropped it into the Share Act, which is, crikey, what does it stand for? I don't remember off the top of my head. Sportsman Heritage something or other. It's one of those decent bills that is set up to help hunting and fishing and protect their rights, and at the same time they threw the Hearing Protection Act in, so it actually will have a shot at getting passed. So, other than if you're behind enemy lines, you might actually be able to get suppressors without the $200 tax stamp before Christmas. So we'll see what happens. Washington moves at their own speed, though. So, okay, end of the political rant. Back to long distance shooting. I'm looking at some point in time, I'm going to build a 6.5 by 284. I already have the dies for it, so got the dies, got to get the rifle at some point in time, right? But for now, it's just using the lead sled for the most part for load development. And I have a set of sandbags too, but kind of like Jason, I really kind of didn't like them after a while. They're kind of limited in adjustability. The nice thing about both the lead sled and that other bench rest I have is you do have vertical adjustment on them, so that's kind of nice. The drawback to them is it's using a coarse thread screw, so it's not really fine adjustment. I really like to see somebody come out with one of those where it's actually a fine thread screw, so you don't have the big hops and the big twists. So, but yeah, at some point in time, we'll be looking at getting a better set of bags and stuff. I've got just the basic Caldwell bag somewhere, and then I've got a nice leather bag that's kind of got the dual little flip ears on top and then the big base on the bottom. Suspect if you're trying to shoot prone.
Mike, are you talking about what's called the Outers Y rest, double Y rest?
Or what?
For a rifle rest?
No, it wasn't from Outers. It was actually I want to say Sportsman Guide.
Okay.
I can't get to it right now. It's behind the wife's car. But it's just basically a 3-foot. All the feet are adjustable. The nice thing is it's got a built-in level on it, so you can tell whether you've got it level or not. But so another piece of important business we have to take care of. As I said last week, on this week's episode, we're giving away this bad boy.
Nice.
So, yes. One of our Patreons or pledgers is going to win this right now. So, we have 23 pledgers. 2 are ineligible for the drawing for various reasons. And if anybody wants to know, they can send me an email. I'll let you know. But the 23 that are eligible are Mark H., John C., Mark K., Shane D., Terry R., November 4 Delta Tango Foxtrot, Anthony B., Winfred C., Timothy A., Todd S., Mike S., Russ H., November X-Ray 2 Charlie, Chris L., Robert G., Joel, Rick R., Carl K., Aaron S., Jared W., and David S. Those are the 21 people that are eligible to win this lovely RCBS M500 mechanical scale. So what I've done is I entered all the names in a spreadsheet so I have how many we need. And then using a random number generator, we're at random.org. And I just do this.
Wow.
That worked like I wanted it to.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to do that, and I'm sorry I didn't. Then anyway, give me something to get blamed for. There we go.
All right, so there's the list of names. And we'll pull this over here. So we have 21 names. So pull this down to 21. Stop it. Generate. The winner is number 4. Shane D. Send me an email at reloadingpodcast@gmail.com. You have won yourself a RCBS M500 mechanical scale. Shane D. Once again, send me a reloadingpodcast@gmail.com so I can get your address and we can get that shipped out to you.
Congratulations, Shane.
Congrats, Shane. Awesome. So that's the first giveaway. as I've already said, we have a couple other ones we're going to be doing some testing with, and then we're going to give those away also. We've still got the level floating around out there. Jeremy's got it. He's got one more gun he wants to use it on. All right. So a couple things from the chat. Russ popped up and said, the most important piece of reloading equipment I have is a quiet, secluded room. And then Rex Sherburne said, amen to that. And Tony said, agreed on the quiet place. And Jason agreed also, and I agree also. I do like a little bit of background music sometimes. I don't listen to podcasts because then you start getting involved in the podcast and you get distracted. But I found music is okay in the background. I work in retail for 20 years. I'm used to having music on in the background. So absolute quiet kind of drives me nuts. But it is nice to have the quiet.
What kind of music you listen to, Michael?
It varies. I listen to all sorts of stuff. I listen to, sometimes I listen to the 50s and 60s. Sometimes I listen to jazz big band stuff, swing stuff. Sometimes I listen to classical. Sometimes I listen to really old country. And sometimes I listen to old country. And sometimes I listen to country pop. Also current country. I listen to every once in a great while. I listen to 80s music, but as a general rule, I kind of just like 80s because it was part of my growing up music. As I got older and started to have a better appreciation of music and realized, wow, this stuff kind of sucks. So, kind of all over the board.
While you're reloading, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Believe it or not, when I'm cycling my 550, I like AC/DC style music. It just keeps me going because I don't have to do any thinking. I just got to keep my eyes and hands going, watching what I'm doing. Making sure I keep an eye on the powder measure, making sure I have good supply of bullets on hand, restock the primers every so often. I like AC/DC. 64 years old, and I still love rock and roll.
Yep. Yeah.
And I like my country too.
Metallica, I like the older stuff, like Rise just for all a couple of good albums. Stuff where it just kind of great background noise. Nothing like a really good guitar riff.
How about you, Jason? You listen to anything while you're reloading on occasion?
Yeah, I have something going in the background, not very loud. Old country is my favorite.
Stand by your man.
You betcha.
That's Tammy Wynette and Patsy Cline.
Absolutely.
Russ said you're a relaxed shooter. It's great if it works, but he preloads his bipod, so he needs his spikes. And what he means by preload and spikes, some of the bipods come with actual ground spikes. You can actually jam it into the ground. And what he does with preloading is the way he's laying down, and he actually leans into the bipod. If you don't have the bipod spiked into the ground, it will start hopping along the ground. So that's why he has to do that. There's various reasons for doing it. I've never tried it, so I don't know if there's any benefit to it or not. But there's various reasons for it. I know one of the big ones is recoil mitigation. You can't jump as much because you're pinning it into your shoulder. Now, granted, it's going to hurt your shoulder a little more, but the idea is to keep the rifle from moving as much as possible to keep it from affecting accuracy and to keep it consistent.
Well, we're not talking about shooting the Marlin 4570 lever action rifle. We're talking about a well-built bolt gun or well-built AR platform, something that's not going to give you a whole lot of recoil, because recoil at long range should be a non-issue.
Could be. Sometimes it does, depending on what you're shooting. So.
Yeah, I know. I shot Salvatore Cinquemani's 330 at La Poix, and that thing let me know that I'd touched a round or two off. At $3 a round, well, it's like, thanks, Sal. I appreciate it, buddy. $3 a reloaded round, guys.
I know.
No, I'm not talking to you and Jason. I'm talking to our listeners. That ammunition probably can go on the order of $7 to $8 per shot. Factory ammo.
That's for the cheap stuff.
Yeah. I've heard of that going for $22 a round. Good stuff.
Not surprising. Not surprising at all.
So there you go. You are saving money. In that case, you'd be saving $19 a round.
Yeah. All right, folks. We appreciate you checking us out and stopping by. We definitely appreciate everybody that joined us for the live chat tonight. For next week, I'll try and get everything nailed down as quick as possible and get that posted in the Reloading Podcast group. Got a couple episodes to come out yet that I'm working on editing. I had some on a couple of them, and I'm trying to get them all cleaned up. So it's been a process, but doing pretty well. So, and to HD Woody the Third, who sent us an email. Said, love the podcast, but I cannot hear what you guys are saying. I think you're going to need to turn up the recording volume. Last 3 or 4 episodes are so low that I can't make out what you're saying. I have phone on max volume and radio turned to max, and I have a hard time of trying to hear what's being said. Sometimes it sounds like you guys are turning your heads away from the mic. Thanks for your work, and I look forward to hearing you guys again. Thanks, HD. Yeah, that's kind of, I don't know what happened, but somehow Levelator, for the last 7 or 8 episodes that I've been using Levelator for, starts, basically how Levelator works is it theoretically levels out all the different adjustments in sound. So like Jeremy's usually a little quiet, I'm usually a little loud, and then Jason and Jim are somewhere in the middle, and Trevor's occasionally there. But what it does is it makes everybody on the even. How it does that, though, is usually through amplification. And when it amplifies, sometimes it creates clips because it amplifies it beyond what the track's capable of handling. And then those make loud pops, and I get some pops and stuff in there. So I've actually had to go back and try and edit them without Levelator. And then the one that I'm working on now, the sound quality is pretty good. I got the sound quality first, and now I'm going through and taking out the silences and the stupid stuff. So I should be done with that tonight. Tony, thanks for letting me know. Also appreciate it. He said he's having the same problem. Yeah, the last couple of weeks has been just a bear, which is why we've only had 2 episodes out since the middle of August, because it's taking me so long. And frankly, y'all deserve better audio than a couple of those that went out. And so I would rather take the time to get them right than to put them out crappily. So thanks for everybody's patience with that. One of the nice things about using the live is it's going to help with the sound, because Google Hangouts has adjustability built into it. So I can actually sit here and adjust everybody's volume as we're going. So like I'll be able to turn Jeremy up and turn me down, and it's a lot better platform than Skype is. So, and the other thing is Skype tends to have background noise that Google Hangouts doesn't. So, but thanks for hanging in there with us. If you want a chance to win a prize of stuff that we've tested, you want to become a pledger, you can go to firearmsradio.tv/pledge-reloading-podcast, and you can join up. So any of the levels get you into the option for winning the stuff that we test. Also, it helps us to buy better equipment to make everybody sound better. Jim, as soon as he gets moved in and settles, is going to be back onto his desktop. And one of the things I'm looking at right now is going to be a low-cost alternative for Jeremy, because right now Jeremy does it from his phone and his phone only. And that's kind of one of the issues. So we want to get Jeremy something better. So we're going to use some podcast funds for that. Our school district has gotten a bunch of Chromebooks. They've gone over to Chromebooks for everything, and I picked one up for dirt cheap, and I'm going to try and do some testing with it and see if it's viable. And then if it is, I'm going to send it to Jeremy. If not, then I'm going to look around for a reasonably inexpensive tower to send him. So just something better than his phone. And if you don't have extra funds, but you still want to help out the network, and you shop Amazon or you shop Brownells, swing over to firearmsradio.tv/reloading-podcast and hit up the Amazon and the Brownells affiliate links. Doesn't cost you anything extra other than a couple clicks, but it helps out the network. We get affiliate fees back from Brownells and from Amazon. It helps out the network, and it doesn't cost anything extra. Hey, that's an idea, Russ. I'll have to talk to you about that later. He says there are a few shows this year I ran the sound through a guitar compressor so I can listen to it. Yeah, maybe I can do that on some of them and upload the audio so it's better. If anybody else has ideas on what we can do to help out, my tech capabilities aren't the best, and I'm always looking to learn more and get better. So I'm honestly jealous of Trevor's other show, Slamfire. They literally record and post on the same night, but they've also very practiced at podcasting. They're a lot smoother on. There's other stuff that we need to work on, like timing and having all of the stuff ready to go beforehand. That'll get better, especially now that we're back to video and we can't have all the dead zones. We'll get better at that, but what they use is everything works out well. So that's what I want to get back to, is when we first started and the nice thing is when we were recording on video, I could rip the audio out of the YouTube video and I could have it edited and posted in about an hour and a half. So that's going to be one of the benefits of going back to this. I can go back to doing that. So that's one of the things we're looking forward to. Like I said, a couple guests coming up. Just want to thank everybody again for everything you do.
And their patience.
Yes. Man, who's that creepy video that popped up?
I had to relocate. I'm in a much less better lit room.
Aha.
I could do it again. Let's see here.
No, don't scare the children. Don't scare the children.
I'm gonna scare the children. Yay! There he is.
I figured out how to do it. No, I figured out how to hide your video.
Oh. Thanks, Mikey. I love you too. Thanks, Mikey. I love you too, bitch.
That's Mr. Bitch. All right. So, on that note, folks, we're going to say goodnight. So, as Trevor says, brass pep does really suck. But got to keep that brass shiny.
And keep your powder dry.
You need to learn to aim small so you can hit small. And I'll just say squeeze. Don't yank that trigger.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.